Okay, good afternoon traders. Welcome to TradeSetup in the live stream for the 26th of June. Hope we're all doing well. I had a great weekend. I didn't do too much, to be honest. Had a bit of a relaxing weekend, just sort of unwound. We're heading up to Queensland next week, so we'll be working out of the office for the first week and then down in Kira for the second week, just relaxing a bit. So sort of getting everything prepared for that. Anyway, the markets. So the markets on Friday night were pretty much flat. I think they opened down a bit in the US and then sort of popped into some gains not long after the open, and then sort of held those levels for most of the session. Was just bouncing around between the bulls and the bears, taking control, but not much in the end. I think the US ended up slightly higher. So it's been a bit of a low volatility time of recent. So what we'll do, we'll have a quick look and a bit of chat about the VIX. Don't know if anyone's followed the VIX much. It's a volatility index, but historically low at the moment. So we'll have a bit of a chat about that and what could happen. Again, we're just going to go over the ASX and a few of the major indices just to take a look at what they're doing. Not much, to be honest. Haven't moved. Haven't been any significant moves. We're looking at the ASX, just chatting about it this morning. It is a bit. It could be getting a bit choppy. It's starting to get looking a bit weak, but just yet it hasn't rolled over, and there's still, your key levels are still holding up just at the moment. But looks like if the US just sort of sits around here, they can go sideways and we'll end up heading south. Just the way it sort of seems to go with the ASX. But if they start popping up, we might just start to put on a bit more gains. But we'll see how that goes. We'll talk about what we have in the past. Which way the buy starts, so sort of your bulk of your retail traders, which way they're lined up on the major indices, and just have a quick look at those. Go through a few stocks at the moment. We're not seeing any significantly great setups just at the moment. There are some that might be looking good. They'll kick off a bit and then they'll just hover and do nothing. They're not going on with it, and that's because of probably the bit of indecision in the underlying markets. But what you want to be at times like now, if this market does roll over, you really just want to be taking, if you're going to take a trade, something it's got a very high probability, a really nice setup. Okay, something that's a really solid setup. It sort of conforms to all your parameters, rather than just taking. Because I think when the markets are bullish, you tend to get away with a bit more. You can take those weaker setups, and they still end up going quite well because the overall market's going strong. But when they're not, you just want to be on top of your game with your setups, or the reason why you're taking it, and just take those quality ones. But at the moment, we're not seeing anything too significant that's looking great. There's a few that look good, but at the same token, they could just roll over. So we'll take a look at those. What we'll get into now, I'll just get my little face on there, because I know you love it. Alrighty, minimise that, and just see where we're trading at the moment. I got a few little ones myself that have been beaten around a bit today, and the market's hasn't done too much. They spiked up for a few days ago, but then just sort of hovering around doing nothing. Yeah, I noticed that, Paul. Your BSL. I've been watching that, to be honest, and I think that there is really nice. That could just edge away higher. But the only real reason why I've been inclined just to hold off, because it's had a good solid. You're potentially at the end of a trend. Who knows? I mean, this is all bit of guesswork, and if you go back to the monthly, just have a flick back, it's going to come up into some sort of resistance up, potentially in the zone now, maybe up to 15, which has still got a bit of meat in it. But yeah, ideally that daily chart is looking great. It's holding higher lows. It's coming up to that 13 mark, where it may see a bit of reaction off there. If not, it's just going to blast through, and away we go, continuation. But it looks good. Yeah, it's 3.5% today now, looking good. All right, we'll quickly have a bit of a squiz at the overall markets to start with. This is the XAO. Let's just go to the XJO. I prefer that. Top 200. I think the XAO we discussed is 500. Top 500 stocks. You can sort of forget about the next 300. The top 200 are the key ones anyway. But this is the daily chart. All right, we can still see this trend is holding. It's sort of hovering. It washed out this zone through. Actually, let's draw it up. And it's still. I'll just take a bit of a snapshot first. All right, now we're set. So it's got this zone it's hovering through, just holding up above roughly that 56.75. Washed it out here, and that washout led to a spike higher and push up through 58. It's these last couple of days, those couple of days that concern me when you've washed that 58 out. So that could be a major washout. If this builds another lower high and then goes on with it on the downside, I'd expect we would be at least attacking 5600 and below. Maybe a major correction, because really the last major, that was a weekly, is 50.50. That's your key level. We've had this move up from 50.50 right up to 59.50. Okay, so maybe it's due for a bit of a major correction on a weekly basis, and then we just have to sort of sit back and see what happens. Or it's just going to hold up this zone, start building, but I think it's got a bit of work to do. It could get a bit choppy still. Hold up in there, and then it's pushed up, pushed down, and maybe do a bit of this, pop up to these highs again, up to the highs again, and then start building for another move up, and then eventually go once we squeeze those people out. But it might, at the moment we're sort of in that area, that zone where it could, we're not significantly bullish. This price action is good. I don't mind that price action after this washout, but it's those last couple of days it's got smacked down again, and you sit there thinking, okay, that probably shouldn't happen if the majority of people are biased up. And like we've spoken before, when you look at the bulk of the retail traders, or the bulk of traders at the moment, what we look at anyway, are biased long. So if it's only 60%, whereas around the globe, the FTSEs, I think the FTSE was about break even, if I'm getting that right. No, sorry, the DAX. The DAX is about 50-50, short to long. So that, that when we're talking about fuel for a move, that's not, it's sort of an each way bet on that one. The FTSE's biased short 62%, and that's been grinding higher. Then you've got the Wall Street, and the S&P is well and truly biased short. So they're really taking everyone's sort of loaded up thinking it's going to roll over. And that's one of the good reasons why it has been ticking higher. It's just been washing those people out, whereas we're the opposite. We're biased long. So if anything, that's probably why we're grinding lower, just continually putting pressure on those longs, building up, washing them out. But we'll have to see. What's everyone else's view on the old ASX? Are you a bit I wouldn't say concerned, but just holding back just to see a few more key signs? And this is what I'd like to see. If I'm going to be, I want to see it pop up, maybe retest up towards 5800, hold some higher lows. I guess that's what I'm wanting to see, not the price action. What we're seeing, a couple of days bounce off this zone again, and then good bounce. You can see this last day, nice bounce the next day on Friday, which wasn't really much of an up day. We've opened up, spiked up, and washed it all back out again. And we're pretty much at break even again at the moment. We're actually down a point. So it's not looking. If we go back down to the half an hour chart, let's just look at intraday. Yeah, so it's still. I mean, if we break down through 57, I'd just be a bit concerned the longer term, only because it's the last high low. And if we're just grinding up and then roll over, or we could get a bit of acceleration to the downside. So either way, we'll just have to sit back and just see what it brings us, and just focus on focus on those setups. So that's showing a better view. Anyway, let's just have a quick look at the major indices. Let's actually go over here. Let me just get them up there, guys. See the Dow, it's had a couple of down days, but it's probably just as it's getting a bit extended, that can easily just have a bit of a pullback, build a high low, and then go again. So that's that's still positive. FTSE's looking like it's starting to roll over a bit. They've got a few issues what they're trying to sort out. I think the latest with them is that you've got a weaker pound, which is sort of buoyed growth, but I think in the companies on the FTSE not doing quite well. When you're talking in locally, okay, they're going up, but you're talking in terms of companies that are earning money in US dollars or whatever are not doing quite well at all. They're pretty much neutral. So in comparison to around the world, they're not doing the best. And it's more buoyed by a weaker pound. So we'll have to see how that goes, and then they've got to work out what they're doing, leaving Brexit. Well, sorry, with Brexit, leaving the EU. How that's going to work out is going to be hard or soft. Or, you know, are they going to get not the sort of leaving terms that they want? How's that going to affect the economy? So there's a lot of up in the air with the UK and over there in London. So see how that goes. But the DAX, we'll just have a quick look at the DAX, and that was the one I said is neutral, and you can see that that's starting to consolidate through that 12.7 to 12.9, that zone in there. Just probably most of the good part of this month. Just consolidating through there, but it's well and truly in an uptrend there, and you can see that on the weeklies a bit clearer. Well and truly an uptrend. It's just, yeah, obviously we're getting probably potentially towards the end of that uptrend, but we don't know. We're not trying to guess. We're just trying to trade what we see. S&P is the one. Now the S&P I think is still well and truly loaded short, but on a daily basis, really, to me, there's no reason to short it yet. You're going well and truly, you're going against the trend, and you're risking getting burnt again, washed out of the market, like a lot of people have. Weekly, yeah, you could say that's extended, I'd say, but you know, still, we've discussed reasons why it could easily keep going up. So that's the lay of the land of the overall market. Let's go to some of our. That's Paul's beauty, the BSL. It's looking good. What else do you have, Paul, that you want to? We can take a look at it now. I haven't got anything majorly. We talked about some shorts on. Well, Telstra's a short we've got going at 31. It's. If we just drill in on that, can anyone see? Oh, let me get it on a bigger chart. You can obviously see the reasoning why we're short that. Probably make it a bit thicker. Does that help if it's thicker, or does that look a bit ridiculous? Let's drill in. So we can see that it's holding lower highs, and this zone in through here, it's really looking like it's got the potential to hold a lower high again. So happy with that one. It's just we got short and it bounced up, and again today it washed up through 1,440, still potentially holding that lower high, and it's down at 33, 34 at the moment. So if we can take out 30, and if it look, the thing is, if with the shorts, sometimes they're a bit harder because they can grind lower. You can get short, but they don't accelerate like you expect them. And when they do that, if they do accelerate, sometimes you've got to really be on the ball to take a profit on them because they can just bounce back quite hard as well. It's not as kind. It's a bit harder trading on the short side than it is on the long side, but sometimes it can really pay off when things just collapse. They can pay off quite nicely. So we're just seeing if, of course, remembering that it has come down quite a bit over the last few years on Telstra. There is potential to push back down to 4. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But if we are getting towards an end of a downtrend, we don't know. We just have to follow it as we go. The structure looks great. Have to see if we can push through 430. The other one I liked, and we've spoken about it, is not that. AFI. Just get a chart up on that one there. Now, it's a bit unusual. So it's getting extended on the daily chart to the upside. But just looking at this weekly chart, and we can all see it's just been grinding higher, holding the higher lows, but it's pushing up into 6, struggling. This is a lower high at 595, took out the most recent higher low with that spike through, and you do, and that's just in through here, say 570. It's only a few cents really, but I do like that. So really, I want to see this one, if it can start pushing back down, and it holds this sort of up towards 580 holds. It's getting extended, and you can see that the recent push up to 595, that was extended, and we've had a good sell-off, and we're pushing up again. So any sort of buying is getting well and truly soaking, and it's getting sold into quite strong. So if that's the case, and we can get this little push down through this low 573, I think this could start to set up, and it'd be nice to see, and then we could just punch through 565, and off this weekly, it could have a lot to go. You know, it could make, if that's the first leg down, we've grinded higher, and we have a secondary leg down. If you measure that from top to bottom, 640 down to about 540, say $1, 6 down to about 5. Could be a lot in that one, so we'll just have to see how that goes. I like the structure. It's really just sitting back and waiting. Does that make sense on that? AFY we still got. That's sort of banging around. It's had a nice contraction off the low. It took a partial at 295. popped up through the highs and then washed them out. It's just contracting off those highs, so it's reacted off that 310 to 20 zone, which you sort of expect. Still holding the trend up. I think our remaining stop's quite a fair bit away, just trying to open that one up a bit. 250. So it's just below here. You probably find it annoyed me, like MND we got stopped out of that, and I think the same day, towards the end of the close, they had a nice little announcement. It's popped up since. You never know, but this one here is getting extended on the downside too on that daily chart. It is rolling a bit over on the stochastics. It's coming off that overbought mark around 3, but the daily's the one. If we get that pop up and we start to build that lower high, we'll probably close it out. But if it could easily pop up and start squeezing and really putting pressure on those 310 and really punch through, which would be great. I'd like to see that one. But either way, we booked something on that. It's a win-win. What else we got? IMD is something we've had for a little while, which looks good. You can see this curving, and it's had the acceleration up to the highs at around 74. We were looking for somewhere around 78 to take a partial, and it didn't get there. All these candles are green, but it's been edging lower. All right, so we can see if this 70 can hold, and maybe we had a bit of contraction lower. It's still looking good. I mean, the longer term structure is great. You can see it's had this push up. It hasn't been going for too long. Actually, is that everything? Actually, I'll take that back. What a lie. It's had that push up, consolidated through here for quite a while, and it spiked through the highs. It doesn't go on with it too much, and then you get that selling pressure, and then the higher lows are built, and this little pop up through here. I just want to see if they can blast up through the highs just from here. If you can get that accelerated pop up, great. We'll take a partial and just book that, see how it goes. Linus is one that's just got us long. This one we've just got to be a bit careful on. We just got our exit just below that 9 level, or around 9. Up at the moment, that's sort of that's something we've spoken about in the past. When you get things that go from a 0.01 increment to half a cent increment, once they hit 10, they go to 10.5, 11, 11.5, and so on. Below that, it's 9.5, so 9.5, 9.6, 9.7, 9.8, 9, and so on. So below that, then you get this choppiness. You get people buying up and trading it, so they get these half-cent moves. So it does get a bit choppy around that zone. If that's what's happening, it may roll over. We'll just have to keep an eye on that one. But anyway, it's still, I like that price action. It looks like it's lifting off. You know, that weekly held the low, popped up, consolidated higher, a major higher low, popped up again. So if we can hold this higher low and then go again, which I'd expect we're coming at the other end of it with this price action, that would be great. And we should be trading up towards 14. See how we go. I don't know, Paul. Magic. Which one was that again? That was IMD, wasn't it? I think it's just opening up, popping up into the close. Next day, it's. I mean, the first two candles, if you see, 3 months. First two candles, it's just opening, closing higher, same. This one is just basically open and close at the same spot. This one had a bit of a washout at the downside, then closed up into the close again, and the same. It's open lower and just closing higher. So it's a bit weird. Yeah. So it's a smally old IMD, but we'll see how that goes. All right, I can't think of anything else really that we've got that's SHL. That's just popped up through. We just moved our risk just below this high low here because it's a second. We've taken a partial at 23.90, I think. Took a partial here. I was hoping for it to go up, so we had sort of an OCO. Does everyone know what an OCO, order cancels order? So you can sort of put it either side of the market, above and below. If it pops up, you take a partial on the top side, and then it cancels the bottom side, or vice versa. If it goes down, you get stopped out of some as a partial, and then you cancel the other order. We happen to get the one on the downside, took us out. Anyway, but it's above where that exit now at the moment, and it's just popped up through the highs. If this one doesn't go on with it, the weekly structure looks great. I really like that weekly structure, and I'd expect that it's going to tick up to probably 25 or maybe above. We'll have to see. It's starting to get not extended on the nothing. No reason why it can't keep going, like we always say, but you just got to take note when they're starting to get extended and you're just not going too far. It's just struggling a bit. Just err on the side of caution. Much prefer to err on the side of caution. Sorry, I just saw something. This is another one I think I mentioned just the other day. Bubby. Love it. So this one I mentioned was a good little one to look at. I didn't alert it for some reason, but I think I just mentioned it to everyone. It wasn't trading a lot, and you can see that's just kicked on. So just to let you know, I've got that one, and hopefully it's going to give me a partial on that. I've got it around 27.5, but I just want to see. It's trading 25, 26. I didn't see that. As we've been talking, it's popped up 1.5 cents. So see if they can push up, take me out on a partial, and then God, that was 16.5 up to 27.5. That's a good little profit. All right, what else we got? Is there anything? We'll probably spend more time just looking at a few stocks if you want today, rather than me just jabbering on about different things. If there's anything you want to look at, just put in the chat, and then we'll just go for it. This is another one that I've got. I'm sort of just underground a bit on this one. Took some, I think this is This is a cannabis one. Now, the difference between this one, I was just chatting with Davin about it. They're actually doing stuff, I think, rather than just, you know, they got a bit of a free ride on the back of this cannabis furor or whatever you call it, excitement. These guys, what it's got here is the first Australian company to secure the necessary licenses to undertake research and to cultivate cannabis for human medicinal and research purposes under the government's new medicinal cannabis regulatory system. That's a bit of a tongue tie. So they're actually doing some stuff there. I think they're the first. They're going into obviously harvesting and all that sort of stuff, and they've got some, I think, contracts in place. So they're looking good. I think it looks good. I just took that. It was up on this little spiker. It was a bit of an intraday trade that I've just missed, and it turned against me, so I bought some more in here. So averaging about 61, 62. So I want to see if they can kick on, but I want to take a partial on that first exit and just see if we can get up towards 70. A little spike, even if it doesn't go on with it, and we get a lower high. Wouldn't mind just taking some off the table there. But that's on CAN. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, CKF. I was just looking at that. It's got to hold above that sort of 510 mark. I didn't really. I think we've spoken about this before. I didn't really want to see. If we just go to a. Oh my God, FI. I'm liking it, but it's got a bit of work to do. If you look at it on the weekly basis, it's good. If it can chop around here, but it needs. I really think it needs to hold up above 5. If it's going to be a good little zone to buy into. The daily is still putting a bit of pressure on the downside, still holding those lower highs. And we've just got this recently, just sort of that rejection above 5. When it popped up, pushed back down, it's popped up again, you know, into that, what is that high around 545. Just popped up there, but it's come down the last few days as well. And that's probably the overall market is getting a bit choppy as well. So if we can pop up, ideally from here, I'd want to see it push up through, say, 550, pull back, build a higher low, but I want to see a definite higher low, not all the way back down again, because then that action's starting to get a bit whippy, and it's starting to, you know, there's still that to and fro between the buyers and the sellers. But overall, the weekly chart is still quite good. You can see that's pushed up. We contract it a bit lower, but hold that sort of through 4. That price action, I think we got it in there towards the end of last year. A nice run up. Cracked it. It was just a cracker. But then we build that lower high, and then you've got a couple of, you know, these buys in through here, or even earlier, just taking some profit off the table. It's popped back in, but it's in a nice little zone on the weekly too, where it can build a weekly higher low. So you've got the high low just in here around that 350. That's sort of led to that, you know, bit of contraction, then that push up to 675. If we can hold that there and start looking like we're breaking some lower highs on a daily basis, then it's going to be on. Yeah, okay, John, we'll look at TOX. I'm just going to have to keep it. Oh, bugger. Alright, still a bit choppy, this old bub. What do we got? Well, just this recent price action looks good. Take a step back and see where it is on the weekly. There's obviously a clear zone through here. Let's just draw that up. I'll draw up the weekly. It's pretty obvious what 181,000. Obviously the key level on this one, you don't want to see it go through there. I mean, it could wash out. You can see that it sort of did that price action before. It went smash through and then popped straight back up and just broke through and then started holding, just popped up through that lower high. So that was, downtrend, boom, 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 push down, washed out a major low. It did a good washout, really, and reacted quite strong back up again. And then pushed back down to retest sort of that, what was it, $2. So if we get that type of price action and then pull back, build a higher low, it would be great. There's a nice little entry in there, and that led to a good, solid, strong move up. Once all these selling's been flushed out of the market. Now, are we doing that again? We contracting down. Maybe we, it's that type of thing. We're pulling back into that zone. We've reacted off there. That's still a lower high. We're down here at the moment. Are we going to just pump it out and then start, start doing something from there? It'd be interesting to see. So obviously this is a weekly chart. It has some really good potential. It's constantly getting bought up around that 210 it's holding, but we could flush it out if we pop back up. It's got a. I'd still suggest it's got a bit of work to do. That weekly looks good. I mean, if you're buying it through here, where your risk is going to be, just below around at 225. You can still be targeting sort of up towards 265, 70 or so. But yeah, longer term, I think this is a key level on the downside. It's holding the market down. It's way up at 280, so it could easily contract high. You can get a gain out of that, and it could still hold the weekly trend and then wash out, like we said. Could still have a bit of work to do. But I think we haven't got evidence of buyers winning this one just yet. They are stepping in, and they're happy to step in around 210.15. You can see right through here, they bought it up. It's come back down. Sellers have took control again, all the way back down. Sorry, let me just get rid of that. Mute that. You can see that sellers are still taking control all the way back down. Buyers bought it up again, held it up, didn't get too far, only got up as far as 280, so major lower high, and again the same sort of reaction, so pushing back up. It's just that last reaction is looking good, but it is, if you look at this here, pretty much showing that exactly the same. So this could just accelerate up to 260 and then roll over, this type of price action again. So definitely keep an eye on it. It is, I think it's got a bit of work to do, but it's looking good. Now, where are we? MTR. Well, let's look at that one. Yeah, I'm watching this one too. Yeah, it's sort of roughly where it closed last week, wasn't it? That weekly chart's not looking bad. Is that everything? It is. I don't mind it. I think on a weekly basis, the key level's right up at around that 350. You can see this little high just in here, around 350. It's, it said down, pop up, down, pop up. It's the old Dow theory, lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high, lower low. Just washed out there. It's not a bad sign. And this is something just to take note of. Anyone that's an advocate for price action, like myself. Let me just I'll probably get a bit more data on that. Just the way it makes lower lows as well. And how far does it go low? How far? How much does it break the previous low by? Because it just shows the strength in selling. If we go, sorry, I've got to get back to him. Anyway, we've got this. So we had that sort of push down, pop up. So we've got that, what we just said, lower lows, lower highs. But you can see they're sort of taking out the low by a bit. We can see that was quite a bit. This lower low really led to not much. It's only actually, you'd call that more of a double bottom. So that, because it pushed through the low, but it finished above. So that's not a terribly negative sign. It's built that lower high still. So there still is some selling pressure, which pushed through those lows. But that, you can see the descent of that. It took a lot more time to push through the low. And then it's popped back up, and it's just starting to reject through 260. So as opposed to, the steepness of that sell-off compared to that sell-off, it's starting to, you can see that buyers are starting to step in on the way down. Does that make sense when you look at it that way? So really you're seeing potentially seeing some early signs that buyers are stepping in, whereas here it's more just people sitting on the bid, they're getting hit. Sitting on the bid, they're getting hit, all the way down here. All right. But here it's more that I would suggest there some better buying through here, some better buying volume. People are stepping in, and if you can get that through here, is a bit of a double bottom, but you've got this little level. Well, that's probably not exactly right. It's probably, oh, don't know what happened there. I didn't even know how I did that. Let's go for that. All right, so that 310 mark, it's a lower high. You'd want to see, for me, I want to see, and you can see that is good. Remember, we've talked about it a lot, and this is, a sort of key point you've got to keep an eye on when you're talking about high lows, lower highs. Higher lows is a bullish market, but in context of what's happening, if it's coming into a zone, say this is a weekly lower high, it's popped up in there, it's got some higher lows, so it's squeezing up, but there's no reason why it can't wash it out and then roll over. So you want to be more taking note of the higher lows when it breaks through there. So I would rather see, if you can sort of think of that's that little move there, it's pushed down, and then we started to hold some higher lows. We pushed up into it there, and we pulled back there, and we're just up into it now. And probably just popped through it as it was last week, I think. I would rather see it. We'll change colours. It's pushed through, and then I want to be taking note of the next high low, and if you can get it. Ideally, if it chops around that sort of breakout zone, and then I'm looking for a nice little, to see if I can time an entry off that high low, as opposed to something in here. Because something in here, these high lows could lead, you could make profit on it, but you've got to be quite quick, I'd suggest. And so it can pop up here, and then pull back, and this could easily just fail. Wash that level out, and then build a lower high, and then go. And it could completely fail, you don't know. It's just that putting in context of what's happening with, what I just spoke about with that sort of descent, the angle of descent there, as compared to recently, and how much they're washing out the lows, not significant. This is leading me to believe that the buyers are stepping in. So I'd be looking for that type of price action as opposed to, just buying on the breakthrough there, because it did break through there and it's pulled back again. If we get into the daily, just see that the daily looks good. Yeah, that looks good. It could easily pop up through there, but I want to see it pop up, finish above, and then look for the high low after that. It's just different. It's got to do more with timing and putting that picture together. What's happened in the past? Are we breaking a key level? Are we not breaking a key level? If you don't break a key level, you probably just want to sit on your hands and just sit there and watch it more than anything else. But that being way down here is different to being up here. If that makes sense, looking to buy it there, because that is a bit riskier if you're just buying it on a breakout and it's not really broken a key level. Say through here, if you just bought it through there, I'd rather see it pop up, pull back, build a higher low, and then take it up through that, because that's a better sign. It's more high probability, I guess. Is that making sense, guys? Or I just get things a bit mixed up? Maybe a gem. I'll let you catch up. I just want to quickly see what's happening. Oh, lo and behold, straight back down again, eh? Up 7 points now, so it's still a bit choppy on the old ASX. Gem. Let's get into that then. Okay. All right. What have we got? GM. Yeah, I've got my eye on this one. I've just got to remember why. All right. The weekly, I think it's got a bit of work to do, obviously. I'll tell you exactly what. Just go into the weekly chart on Gem. This is what, well, on the daily probably as well. I do like it. but I wouldn't buy it just yet. I think it's got, did it again, didn't I? Have you got some interest in this one, Don? Are you into it? You're just watching it? So you've had a nice strong leg up there. So that sort of strength in a move higher, you expect some sort of contraction. It's just whether this is the contraction low, it's washed out enough, or we've got another leg coming. We don't know, but I think the way this is going, it's probably starting to build. It's consolidating. It's quite a wide consolidation, actually. You can see right through, what was it, 290, is it? About 290 up to about 420. So quite a bit of consolidation through there. That was looking good. You've had that big sell-off, and it's probably quite a good move. And if I could measure that with a, not that I use it much, my Fibonacci tool, that's probably about 1/3 to 2/3 what we talk about. 30 to 50%, 30 to 60% retracement, which I'd say just eyeballing that is closer to 50 than anything else, isn't it? So that's quite a bit of heat that's come out of that market, that move up. We've popped up, hit the 420, we've come back down, smashed back down again through that support, but it's a great little washout on a weekly basis. And then this price action here is quite nice. Then it started lifting up again. You got the buyers pushing back up. Only got as far as that resistance around 420, and then we've got quite a strong move, and you can see that if you draw it that way, gradual move up, bang, straight back down, smash down again. Gradual move up, smash back down again. So it looks like some quite strong selling in that respect. So this here could go either way. It could be a lower high and then work its way down, that way on the weekly basis. Or have we just, is this a high or low? Or this zone, well, we'll just take one back. Is this a high or low just in here around that 320? But then I'd still like to see, if that's the case, I just want to see evidence. Okay, it's all about evidence with it, because that, okay, cool. I want to see that hold up. So you want to see that as a new zone. So it's like a new line in the sand for buyers. Go, okay, if it comes back down somewhere around 320 to 40, I want to buy it. I want to step up and jump in. That they support that level. They sort of defend it. Otherwise, that sort of V-shape action, you haven't got. See this price action here as opposed to this. This is just a reaction, bang, straight up and off that level. Whereas this was buyers stepping in, and you'll probably show it up a bit better on the daily. That type of price action took a few weeks, so there's some good support there. It was getting supported over a few weeks, probably about a couple of months. Is that right? About 1.5 to 2 months or so. That led to a nice long move up to 420. But that quite dang, in 1 week, bang, straight up again. So it's open lower, pushed through 320, and been going up since then. That's quite a strong reaction. I'd rather see that type of action, for some buying at a high low, buyers stepping in, supporting it, and it's just a heads up to sellers. Hang on a sec, something's happened on the upside potentially, but you've got a major resistance zone up at 420. Right, that's obviously what you're going to be contending with at the moment. So this, I'm not trying to alarm us or anything. It could be a major lower high, and then we go from sort of from here just down, and then have to start building some major consolidation. We can wash this 280 bucket zone out. Don't know. And that way you'd sort of be projecting that leg down, another leg down somewhere around here, 140, 160, something like that. Don't know that yet just yet. I think it's got, for that to happen, quite a bit of work to happen, to play out. On a daily basis, just looking at that one, so that's that rejection. It's open, it's gapped right down, open, and then reacted up strong. And then you got this type of price action, which is set on the weekly, is quite nice. Led to some higher lows, some good solid moves higher, but only as far as that resistance zone around that 420. Then solid again. That kind of selling is quite hard and fast. That's off a double top, so you really need buyers to be stepping in here. And so ideally, we're getting a bit extended with this little move up here. That leg, when we pushed up through this 350 to 55, so you can see that little minor. Oh, let's just make it a bit smaller. Easier to see. It's this level through here. It's solid sell-off, gradual buying again. That lower high just through here, bang, that was confirmed when we pushed through this low. Then we pushed up through that lower high. So maybe that leg is over, and maybe that's a good zone for a high low. But I would like to see it pull back. For me, just because of this price action, what we're seeing through here, that selling is still quite strong. I want to see that probably pull back, and a few good solid days of holding up a good level and building that high low. And then I think it'll easily take up through 375, and then you'll have to see how it reacts back up again at 420, because it will be coming from quite a low, if that makes sense, from a low zone. All right. Is that made a bit of sense to you, Don? Or you disagree? But either way, I think I'd be biased up potentially on this one. I'd be biased up if anything, but if I wanted to enter it, I'd just want to see a few more things play out first. But I think, I don't mind that. Some good buying in here. I don't know what caused that. Good solid move up over close to a year, not about a year and a half, a year. So is that right? Yep. But then it had it really reacted quite strong off. So that sort of reaction off that 420, not leaving me, too happy, I guess, too positive. So I just want to see a bit of work done here, and I think it's a good zone where it could maybe pull back, build that high low, and then bang, up she goes. It'd be worth taking a trade and at least pushing it up to 420 and see how it reacts there. All right, anything else there, guys? Just checking out a few of these others. I think this is one EHE. I don't mind that price action, but EHE. Let's just have a quick look at this one. Let's just break this one down. Alright, let me just take a look at this one, guys. I just want to see what's happening. This is the old bub. Whether I just go and take a partial now, or do I... What are your thoughts? $25. We'll see. I'll just stick with it for a bit. EHE, let's have a look at that one. Now, what's everyone's thoughts on this? I mean, I don't know anything fundamentally about it. SDA Health Limited. It's done 2 mil. Profile, what do they... Is a provider of residential aged care services in Australia. The portfolio of 48 facilities. Not a bad little area to be in. Okay, so let's just look at the chart then. It's this most recent price action I don't mind, but again, this is it's got a fair bit of, when they can push down like this, and you got this strong move down, you got this sort of price action. It's up against a fair bit of resistance, so this is where you have to consolidate. You want to consolidate around those lows at a higher low and build, and that's going to suck in some buyers. If we just quickly draw that up. Actually, let's just make it a bit... No, let's not do that. All's better. That's better. So this is a weekly chart. So just draw it up on a weekly. There's actually, for me, there's still a few things looking good on this. This is EHE. I think I forgot about it, and I haven't looked at it, and haven't looked at it for a little while. But it's starting to show some good signs. What I like to look for, you can see. That move down, we've had some solid moves down, and then this sort of price action, most recent price action, it could just consolidate through here. You've got this little lower high here, so it's sold off, popped back up, built a lower high, pushed down, it couldn't get down to the lows again, so that's not a bad sign. And then it spent some time just consolidating, tried to take out those lows, had another dip at it here, took out those recent lows, but the key one down here at around 210, couldn't get to. So that's not a bad sign. Then you get some buyers starting to step in, but it's all within this trend line, beneath this trend line. So it could easily, this spot here could easily roll over and taken out these lows and kept going. I'm just gone down to, you know, $1, below $1, who knows? But that's not a bad sign. Then you've just popped up through. So we've sort of, what we're looking at now is potentially that's come out of that move down is finished. All right. So this is why, you know, just building it in my head. That's the one you're talking about. All right, XTE. We'll have a look at that, Dave. When does it reopen? Sorry, just why this is one that we were chatting about before. XTE Limited. Excuse me. It's that little cough I can't get rid of. XTE is a provider of protective security, technical and forensic solutions to the government, law enforcement, military and commercial sectors. Okay, that sounds interesting. I like that. You can see it's spent a lot of time. It's come off these highs, obviously. Is that everything? Yep. When it started, it's popped up, you know, hit $8 and then sold down since then, but it's spent a lot of time just sort of banging around those lows. So obviously it's a bit harder to see if we just go, well, last price action. So that's, all right, so that's lows down here, and it's held through that 30-cent mark. It's pushed up in the last few weeks quite strong. What did you say? It's just closed. It's in a trading halt now. Capital raising at 46 cents. It looks like. What we meant to know, has had a nice run up. Yeah, so when that reopens, I think that looks really nice. It's a high low on the weekly basis, don't forget. And it's had these spikes, but it's been rejecting sort of up towards that 60 mark. It's had another good run up. Sometimes you tend to, on a capital raising, they tend to push back down to that capital raising level, but it just depends what the company's doing overall. Obviously, if it's quite strong, they could easily pull back, hold around 50, and then bang, off we go again. Yeah, strong revenue pipeline. So the fundamentals are well and truly in place, which means there's a reason why this is pushed up quite strong. They capital raise at 46. You probably would expect a bit of profit taking, but just have to see. It looks good. That technically looks really nice. I would expect it to pull back, but it can hold that high low and go again. That's looking great. Dave was telling me about this one this morning. So capital raise at 46 cents could be a good pickup at this level when it reopens. If it stays up here, it might be alright, but personally I would be just watching it. Dav. Alright, back to, I can't remember what I was just looking at then. EHE, is that right? Yeah. So back to Estia Health. You're sidelining me, Dave. Yeah, Patterson's interesting. All right, so this one here, we've got that potentially it's come out of contraction. It's that downtrend is finished. Buyers are soaked up enough. The sellings has been all washed out of the market, especially with this type of move down. That selling's come out, held a high low through here. And it's potentially holding another high low just sort of above that 280 on the weekly. And I don't mind this. So what I'd like to see is just start popping up. I want to see a good acceleration higher because you still got the MAs are still down. We're really just contracting back to the MAs. So you don't want to see sort of a pop up just slightly through the highs and then a pullback and you sit here for a while and then another pop up just slightly through the highs and then pull all the way back again, because that way it's just going to go nowhere and you may just get that sudden move down. So you got to remember too, if things can't go up, they're probably, if people are buying it through here and it's not taking out the highs significantly, probably sooner or later, if they're looking at really short term, because of what's happened in the past, if they're looking short term, they'll probably end up just getting back out, maybe taking a neutral or slight profit on the move, and then you might get that a bit of a deeper correction. You might get another, well, maybe not. You might get another pullback, to lower levels and build a major lower high, and then sort of build again. So I'd rather see if it's that high, if it's just sort of popped up through here, I'd rather see this sort of, a good strong move up and probably a pullback, consolidate around here and then go. I'd like to see a nice little entry like that. But definitely I think this, If we go back down to the daily, just to have a quick look. Yeah, you can see it said, you know, acceleration higher. It's consolidated. It's held the new highs just above 3, and we're starting to look like it's going again. But like I said, I mean, if you're buying it, say 320 for instance, it's not breaking any significant levels. It's still below, you know, that 340, 330, 340 zone. So it could easily just wash that out and then roll over. So you just got to, you know, pick and choose, I guess, your levels. Which one's got more significance? Which one's less significant? And then and why? But I think, like I said, I just want to see it, because once we clear out this sort of high at around 335, is it? 335, what do we get to? Got 2 cents above, but see how that was rejected and it's back down again. So it's not a great sign for future. So I'd rather see it pop up, hold above there, close above there, on a good solid move, maybe like this, and then looking for the high low and buying into that potentially. But then you're going to have a lot of resistance. But then it's the first step up is not till about 5. So you could easily have some fat in that trade. All right. What else we got? Anything else, guys? You want to have a quick look at? Anything you've got on the car? You know you got Fleetwood Dev. Anything else, guys? You want to have a quick look at? We're up 7.5 still. The ASX is still holding. You know, it's not really doing too much. We just have to see how it goes the next few days. But we don't have anything else. ETF, what's that doing? Still there. Oh, MVP is getting a bit choppy. There's a very low vol up here, you know, getting up towards these highs. This is one that we've liked for a while now. Really good news flow. The weekly looks great on MVP. I like the weekly. You can see this is a good accelerated move up. It's a lot of heat coming out of that market down to 425. It's had a good pop up, higher low through, what does it say, 460. Yeah, 460. Held that higher low and it's just back up towards this 550, give or take, that zone up there. So that's looking, showing some good potential. May just back off there, but it's on light. It looks like it's on light volume anyway. It's got a bit extended up into that zone. So on the weekly anyway, if we can back up through there and then just punch, if we smash through it, that's going to drag in a bit of buying, because I think that's quite a solid weekly trend. We may just pop up through. We'll just have to see, but the fundamentals in place for MVP are great. What else do we have? Nothing. DTL. Okay, no worries. DTL. Oh. You're looking at some good ones there. Let's get it on a bigger chart. Yes, this is what we're talking about when we talk about two moves. It's just, this is on a monthly. I know this probably is a hell of a long term, but I just want to illustrate it, one little point, and it happens on most, you know, different time frames. When they get those two moves down, excuse me. So this market, this when I data 3 had, you know, move up here, pull back, and accelerated move right up to $1.60. I'm just going to make sure that that's right before I say it. So this is your key level down here at that stage. That's that pop up, accelerated move up. We've just broken through here on this secondary move, but that's your key. That's your key anchor for this major leg up. So you've got this leg up. Okay, lower high, contracts, takes out the low, so that's contraction. So ideally that's a nice little pause, and then you've got the secondary leg up. So that's your key level. It's right down at 40 to 45 cent, 45, let's call it. But these sorts of moves here, when you get one leg down, it contracts, but you know, you get these higher highs, higher highs, pop out, so you got 1, 2, and then you get that secondary leg down. If you potentially, if you measure that, they're very similar in duration. Well, you can even look at sort of that sell-off down there is quite about the same steepness as that, but then it started holding quite nicely after that. So this buying, if you bought it through here, and it really wasn't a key level until just up on the weekly anyway, about 130. This is a monthly anyway. It's actually a key level up there. So it's sort of contracted up, retested it, just washed it out, and then you got that secondary major move down. So it'd be a lot of people buying it through here that got caught out. And then you started holding, and I like this holding when it spends a bit more time around the lows, building that high low, dragging in a few more people. And ideally, that would have been quite nice. You can see that, and that pop up through here. Okay, that's a different sign to this, especially after 2 moves down. But anyway, Davin talks about it a bit. That secondary push lower, which tends to catch a bit of people. You get the early buyers in, and it catches them out. And it's all within context of that key level down at 45. Okay, so that's the leg up. So people are looking for this as continuation, and up she goes. But they can easily have that secondary leg down. So you just got to take note of your price structure a bit better. And then it's still holding that higher low. That's still a higher low on a longer term basis. And it's led to another leg up and push up through 165. So if we just go down and look at it a bit closely, that's your secondary leg down, and then it's had another leg up here. It's looking quite good. All right, nice major zone through 95. It's starting to get a bit extended on my books. But this type of price action, when it consolidates around there and it's still holding higher lows, is quite good. So if we just draw that up, we're getting a bit closer. If I'm new to this and I'm ready to look for an entry on data 3, potentially what would I be looking for? And don't forget, I do feel on a weekly basis it's a bit later into the trend, so you want to be a bit more, not conservative as such, but you just want to be just making sure that it's a solid, strong entry, and that you can take that across the highs. See, it's just popped up through previous highs. One on the daily. Yep. Still holding quite nicely. Look at that. So really, that contraction, for me, that's looking set to pop out through the top side. Even if you just had a nice little, if it holds this as a higher low just around that 167, it starts working its way back up and takes out that high there. That's well and truly pushing out to the top side of that contraction. You'd be looking, it's got to get through 182, so it hasn't got long to go before it hits. Excuse me, hits up to those highs. But then I would expect that to, break up through those highs and accelerate a bit, maybe 190 or so. So you've got a decent little, probably 2 to 1, close to, potentially if it gets up towards 290. But the key thing is, it's holding these higher lows. You've got this higher low, that led to a move up, took out the highs, pull back and a little high low. That's a great little, look at that. That would have been nice there because, you've had, sideways there, that's your secondary move down. And then when you come back up and retest that and you hold a high low and buying on a break up through, that would have been nice. Then you've got this lower high here, you've got the lower highs pushing down, but you're still holding these high lows, which is a beautiful little, it's a great little sign actually. So that looks ready and raring. Okay, that's a nice one. It's giving you some good levels where if it, say just for instance, it pops up through there, let's just get a clearer. If it pops up sort of through that 174 mark, even you could probably take, well, I don't know, it's up to you the way you enter, but even if it's a nice little, if it's 173, if you're buying it up through there, you're sort of anticipating a break of 174, then you're looking for it, then you know that it's well and truly, probably well and truly out of that contraction, that contraction in, and it's heading to the top side. So there you probably find you wouldn't be the only one watching it, and it might just get dragged up quite nicely and accelerate to the highs. All right, probably call it a day there, guys. Now Thursday, so a couple of things. Thursday I'll be on. Monday, I'm obviously going to confirm this with Dav if you're listening. We're about doing a meetup at a stream on the Monday night for a meetup group, so that'll be open to anyone. Dav and myself again, I'll be up there. So if we can get that organised, otherwise I'm not 100% sure whether I'll be able to stream on the Monday. Or we'll be back on Thursday. I'll be back on this Thursday, the following Monday, which is next week. Potentially that will be at night, and then the Thursday after that, I'll do that stream during the day. And then the week after that, we'll just have to see how we go, because I don't know if I will be able to do it. But anyway, that's it. So spare mic. I can bring mine up. Bring the one, the big beefcake you see in front of me. Well, we'll do that. So yeah, just keep an eye out for next Monday. Just watch out for the alerts. If you've got the app, just watch out for the alert that pops up saying if we're going to stream during the day, you'll get notified, obviously, well in advance, about 11:30 that we're going to do it at 12:30 again. Otherwise, we'll let you know, and just make sure that or about the stream at night. So either way, I'll probably send out an alert just earlier on, so we're on it about somewhere around 7 o'clock. See if we can come up with some good material to discuss. Show you what we look for, and then we'll do that. So anything else? No, I think that's about it. Was that everything, Dav, if you can hear me? I think that's about it. Yeah, and thanks very much, Paul, for your comments. That was the email. We are definitely looking into doing that for the website. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining me, and we'll be back in, like I said, on Thursday. So we'll see how we go the next couple of days, see if we can get some action to the top side and get this market going up out of this confusing type of price action we're seeing lately. And see what the US does tonight over the next couple of nights. All right, guys, cheers, and we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for joining me. Bye.